Hello, everybody. Welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. Please leave your bias at the door. Look at my face. This is the face of someone with a 3-week-old child, and the fact that it's 7:45 a.m. So ignore what I look like, but hopefully what I say will make some sense because it's transfer deadline day. So the plan is right now. Plans change, obviously. We're gonna get everything rounded up to this point before kind of deals start getting done today, and then I suspect we'll go and do a live stream later today. So what I wanted to do is clear the slate so we're all done and I don't have too much work later, because of course with deadline day being on a Tuesday, bank holiday Monday yesterday, plenty of deals have gone through since we last spoke Friday, Saturday, wasn't it, on transfers. Remember, my transfer updates here, guys, deal with done deals. I need to see the player holding the shirt on the club website, making some generic quote about not being able to wait to get started and buzzing to have arrived and can't wait, blah, blah, blah. We're interested in championship deals, inward deals only. I know there's been some big ones during the window gone out, but we're focusing on the players we're going to be watching in the championship this season. And biggest story yesterday, Troy Deeney into Birmingham City. It's quite a nice one, this, actually. If you've seen all the social media output from Birmingham and from Watford, very sort of magnanimous type idea of a player coming home to play for the club that he supported. Obviously, Deeney is noted as a Birmingham fan. He's played most of his career very successfully at Watford, scored a ton of goals, obviously scored that incredibly famous goal, captained them, Premier League, all of that stuff. He probably goes in the Watford legends camp, and now he comes to Birmingham City to join Lukas Jutkiewicz, Scott Hogan up top there. Maybe a few Birmingham fans think Scott Hogan hasn't quite been sticking the chances home, so we'll see. Certainly with Jutkiewicz, they had a lot of power already up front. Don't know whether Deeney is the perhaps out-and-out finisher that maybe Birmingham fans want Hogan to end up being, but certainly a very influential player and a very nice, touching story there of a player ending his career at the team. Wasn't Paul Scholes supposed to go to Oldham at the end of his career? I don't think that ever happened, did it? But there you go, Deeney into Birmingham. And here he is again, Conor Hourihane. Look, we don't need to say much about Conor Hourihane because we spoke about him a lot when he dropped in at Swansea last season. So I'll say all the things I've said before about Conor Hourihane. Central midfielder, classy player, left footer. He's not your mobile number 8, so to speak, who's going to get about the pitch. But certainly if you position him in one area, either deep, making the play from there, or off the front trying to pick those through passes and having those long range shots, very, very useful player, very experienced, and of course now has the distinct feather in his cap, feather because he's lost 2 of them. Last 3 times in championship seasons, Conor Hourihane has been a playoff finalist, twice with Villa, twice with Swansea. Obviously he lost twice, didn't he? One with Villa in 18-19. And I tweeted yesterday, if Blades fans are anywhere near the playoff final, as things stand right now after this poor start, they'll be very, very happy. And I suspect they'll be quite happy with the likes of Ben Davies and Conor Hourihane coming in. Perhaps they'd want to see some permanent deals, but they're bringing in players who are proven championship quality. They are loans, though, so I'd be interested in Blades fans' views. Hourihane, undoubtedly at championship level, very good player. But we all know you can put as many very good players into a failing situation as you like, and sometimes there are other things above it that are dictating it. So keep your eyes on Blades. Hourihane in, give your thoughts on that. And here is Jay Mollenby, 22 years old, Brighton central midfielder. Very much liked by the Millwall fans because he'd been on loan there. I'm going to say it didn't quite work out at Preston, although Preston fans can add a bit more detail to that. I think there might have been injuries. Brighton's been a very good market for championship teams to take in players. I think we've got another one going into Blackburn as well. I think if you'd offered Mollenby to Millwall fans, they'd have most definitely taken him. So there is a player there. He's a central midfielder. So far, Big Val has played Mowat and Livermore, I think, every minute of every game. So Whether that's backup, you wouldn't think Mowatt's position's under threat, being as he was Ishmael's captain at Barnsley and he brought him across. But who knows whether it might be a Mowat-Mollenby combination or whether it's just depth for the season. You're probably going to end up needing all three of those guys. But again, a loan deal like Hugel was to West Brom. Some extra championship quality to an already good squad. Get your thoughts in on Jay Mollenby, especially if you're a Millwall or Preston fan or Brighton fan as well, going into West Brom. Oh my God, 3 into Reading. There is Danny Drinkwater, Scott Dan, and Bubba Rahman. Drinkwater, Premier League champion with Leicester, huge transfer to Chelsea, and then a bit of a dip since then in his career. I think he'd been loaned out to Villa, hadn't he? Look, cruel people will say it was all Kante at Leicester, and let's be fair, Kante has proven to be one of the world's best central midfielders since then, hasn't he? And Drinkwater hasn't. But hey, this is the Championship. What I'd be very interested from Reading fans is, where do they play him? I assume it's a high ticket salary cost for Drinkwater. And I would say of every Championship team, the team with the most solid central midfield partnership, I'm not talking about the best, I'm talking about the most solid, that plays every game and knows each other, is Reading. It's Laurent and Renomota. So interested to see how that works out. But Reading have the worst defence in the Championship, so it makes some sense for experienced players to be coming in. Of course, Scott Dan is another one, 34 years old. Obviously, they've got Morrison and Moore there, who are a kind of staid central defensive partnership. I wonder whether Paunovic is thinking of going to a 3, because I'm sure if you're Scott Dan and you're 34 and you've got vast Premier League experience, you're not going to come to the Championship to sit on the bench, are you? So perhaps they may be going to a 3. Perhaps there might be a hard conversation with Michael Morrison and Liam Moore. Let me know what you think. Barbara Rahman, left back, and I think there's injury issues there. Omar Richards has gone out. Who was it who got injured? Was it McIntyre? So I think he might be the most obvious one to have an open spot in the team to begin with. So look, Reading have gone sort of free transfers, Premier League experience. Let me know what you think, Reading fans, particularly how they fit in to a team that was fairly solid in its selection last season, but dipping off at the start of this one. Here is Unel Hernandez. There he is, pictured up in the stands at Middlesbrough. Cuban winger, 28, on loan. Two-time champion in the Championship with Norwich. However, very, very much a key player in the first one, and not really. I know there was injuries, but even Hernandez would admit he wasn't important in Norwich's promotion last time around. He's a very, very Warnock signing, because ultimately, in that first season, he was very quick, very spectacular, very unpredictable, quite erratic, at times brilliant, at times frustrating, typical winger, but typical of the player that Neil Warnock tends to get the best out of, doesn't he? So he'll set Hernandez up to try and exploit the good bits and hide the bad bits of his sort of skill set as a player. And if I were going to give him to any Championship manager, obviously Daniel Farker had Emi Buendia, Tamu Pukki and Max Aaron, so there were other areas on the pitch where Hernandez was playing, where things were happening which could open things up for him. It'll be a bit different at Middlesbrough. They're not going to be a favourite. They don't have that quality of sort of elite Championship player, but I think it's a good... I look at that and I look at Warnock and Hernandez and I think, okay, he'll get a tune out of him. We will see Onel Hernandez into Borough. Max Lowe checks in to Nottingham Forest. Interesting that one. Max Lowe, Derby fullback who had signed for Sheffield United. And it did feel a little bit like Bogle was the big deal because the two of them went together, didn't they? And Lowe kind of went along with him. Lowe hadn't played that many games for Derby, whereas Bogle was a standout star. Couldn't really get in at Sheffield United, as you can imagine. Ender Stevens was there. Even Ben Osborne sort of got ahead of him. Jack Robinson even possibly down that left-hand side. So, bit of a sense, Sheffield United don't fancy him. Speaking of don't fancy, I don't think the Forest fans fancy Gaetan Bong at left back. So I suspect Lowe gets in the side there, which makes it a sensible signing. However, he's got to step up now, Lowe, hasn't he? Because he's had that time at Derby, not necessarily first choice. Buchanan now is a very good left back there, and he's still got Forsyth. Didn't get it at Sheffield United. He's got to push on now, Lowe. Let's see if we can do it under Chris Hughton. At Forest, let me know your thoughts on that one. Here is Meepo Odobaco, who's going into West Ham, an 18-year-old prolific scorer for West Ham United under-23s. And this signing makes a lot of sense, actually. He's gone into Huddersfield on loan. And, look, okay, Josh Koroma is a good kind of young striker. But with the likes of Jordan Rhodes and Danny Ward there, the need for a young, kind of pacey striker rather than a maybe older finisher is quite prevalent. And I think as well, people look at Huddersfield now, and particularly with the example of Sorba Thomas, they'll look at it as a place where they can go. They will get played. Levi Coyle is there on loan from Chelsea as well. Young players do get played at Huddersfield, Scott High as well. So I like it. I think he gets in the team, actually. I don't know what deal they'll have done with West Ham, but I assume, maybe I assume wrongly, but because of his age, he's going to be a bit more mobile than Jordan Rhodes and Danny Ward and Fraser Campbell there as well, haven't they? So I think he gives them something they don't have already. Into Huddersfield goes Meepo Odobaco. Let me know, especially if you're a West Ham fan, let me know if you know anything about him. Speaking of knowing anything about him, I don't know a lot about George Tanner, who's gone in... they've actually paid a fee. There we go, undisclosed fee. Carlisle to Bristol City. Of course, Nigel Pearson once managed Carlisle. A right back. So we'll see in terms of the back four at Bristol City whether George Tanner is coming in to start or whether he's going to be any kind of backup there. I remember in their last game... he was left back. I remember they had Nathan Baker at left back there. There's some decent players in the back four there already with Atkinson and Callas and De Silva. So we'll see what the plan is down the right-hand side. I think Danny Simpson had the position. So he may be a long-term right back for Bristol City. Don't know much about the player, so be interested in people's thoughts on that. Tanner into Bristol City. Brighton seem to have a billion centre-backs, don't they? And here's another one coming in on loan to the Championship. Jean-Paul Van Heck, who's 21, in from Brighton. Dutchman, previously with NAC Breda. We've seen plenty of centre-backs come down, haven't we? Leo Ostergaard, notably. Ben White on loan. They've got Webster there. They've got Dunk there. They've got Duffy there. We've seen players like Gyökeres and Mollenby, who we mentioned previously in this video as well, go on loan from Brighton. So, look, it's a market that very, very much gets used. I don't know a lot about the player. What I do know is Tony Mowbray had Branthwaite and Harwood Bellis on loan last season. So he obviously wants some numbers in at centre-half. And he's happy to loan them. Obviously, great centre-back himself, Tony Mowbray. He thinks he can work with the youngsters. Let's see how Jean-Paul Van Heck goes at Blackburn on loan from Brighton. This is Ryan Wintle. This is a bit of a bounce. He's gone into Blackpool. Again, like Nigel Pearson at Bristol City used to manage Carlisle, Neil Critchley used to play for Crewe, didn't he? And Ryan Wintle went from Crewe to Cardiff. Says he's featured 3 times for the Bluebirds this season, but obviously Mick would prefer him to go out to Blackpool, and Critchley says he's a midfielder in there. So presumably a championship-ready player, interesting deal, and Cardiff will want him to build experience there at Blackpool. Blackpool need bodies, so let me know what you think. Ryan Wintle into Blackpool, bit of a bounce. Crewe to Cardiff, straight out to Blackpool, presumably ultimately to go back to Cardiff and do bits. I wouldn't think he's been ruled out there at Cardiff as a player just yet, and obviously with the example of NG, Cardiff could link up with Crewe there. Here is Tyler Smith into Hull City, 22 years old. This is on a permanent. He'd been at Sheffield United various loan spells, including 10 for Swindon in 26 last season. It says there. Obviously, Sheffield United have got Sharp, McGoldrick, Brewster, McBurney, Moose. He's got a ton of strikers. He's not going to get anywhere near. Hull have been playing sort of wide inside forwards with Wilkes and Lewis Potter. McGuinness up top. So I'd assume he's a powerful striker. I don't know. But there seems to be that one position there up top for Hull, unless this guy, Smith, gives them different options there. Let me know if you're a Sheffield United fan or you're a Hull fan, how he fits in there. And we have gone all the way around. Bit of a quick whistle-stop tour this morning, but I wanted to just get things settled before things kick off today. That is your transfer update, episode 12. I'll plan something later. Perhaps we'll go live at sort of 7 o'clock or something and see what's popping in the deadline day sort of news. We can do a full, perhaps we'll do an update afterwards for the dearly departed teams, but we'll keep you abreast of stuff. But I just wanted to get this one up now. Let me know what you think of any of those deals going in. Thank you for watching. Keep me updated on social media during the day as to rumours and things of that nature happening at Benjamin Bloom on Twitter. And it's a big over and out from me. And just keep an eye out. We'll likely be back live later on your transfer deadline day, September. Oh no, is it still August? It's the 31st of August 2021. Over and out.